So, all right, guys. I truly, 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 truly hope that you guys like the video. I love it when it just fills my heart, fills my spirit, fills my soul. So we're gonna send that to you guys so that way you guys can use it at the beginning of your presentations. You can use it on your Zooms when people are waiting, coming into the room to show people. And so I'm so grateful you guys were a part of making history with us. And but let's get started. I think we're recording. Is that right? I know I saw a post in there from Helen. Just want to make sure we're good to go. Perfect. So, all right. So let's jump into it. So we got about 45 minutes here before my next Zoom here, and go into the nitty gritty, right? So of what it is it takes. So we came out of this event, and a lot of times what happens coming out of an event is there's a lot of excitement, and when people come out with excitement, that excitement will fade off if it isn't met with accountability. So, and what I mean by that is being accountable towards your goals. And we talked about it over the course of the weekend a little bit for those that were obviously there, which is the pain and pleasure spectrum, right? So if pleasure was enough, the hope of gain was enough, more people would be successful. So more things is using that, that drive, that frustration, that anger. Those are powerful motivators for people to go out there and get what they want if they're focused on, on putting in the actions to go create the results. So where the rubber meets the road is in the action. So real quick, let's do a checkup from the neck up, just real quick. So coming out of the event, how many people have gone from not knowing to knowing about Viago and seen a presentation because of you? That's the question, right? So I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is very important when it comes to making money inside of Viago. And one of the things that is going to unlock the treasure chest for you, so to speak. And I didn't get a chance to do too much of this conversation, but this is a leadership call. This is a mentorship call. So this isn't designed to push you. It's not designed to be comfortable. This is not supposed to be an inspiration call. This is supposed to be, let's go make you wealthy. Let's get you free, but that means it's going to be designed to stretch you, right? So let me give you the example of it. Now, Dubai, well, we're coming up here. We have the end of November, we have December, and we have January to close out your rank to cross the stage in Dubai. So here's what I want to know from everybody here on the line is this, and you can put it into the chat box. What rank are you crossing Dubai at? Put it on there. Okay. I want to know. Put it in the chat box. I want to see what is your rank. Now, here's the thing. If you don't know that yet, we're off track because you can't hit a target that you can't see. Working hard is not a hope is not a strategy. We, you know, we want you to have a plan. We want you to have a plan of action. We want you to have direction. We want you to have focus, but I want you to be able to break it down. So I'm seeing silver, I'm seeing gold, I'm seeing diamond, I'm seeing blue diamond, I'm seeing silver, seeing gold, seeing red, right? So, absolutely. So silver. Now, whatever it is, now I'm not here to tell you what your goal needs to be, by the way. And whether you're shooting for a really big target or you're just shooting for your next rank, everything is good for me. But it's got to be something that you are going to go after and believe you can go after and run after as fast as humanly possible. But what does it take? I talked about it over the course of the weekend when we were there, and I want to give you even a little bit more specifics on this. So I'm going to set up my second camera here real quick so you guys can see. Okay. So, right. So this is, okay, are people that don't know about Viago. We got to get them over the line to know about Viago so they can say yes, they can say no, or they can say maybe. And then what are we going to do? We are going to follow up and we're going to follow up and double the days. That's what we're going to do. Right. So, because that's what we talked about over the course of the weekend. But getting people over this line, I want you to talk about the most likely places that people say yes. So, I want you to think about over the course of your career. Some of you guys have been in Viago for a few months, some of you have been since inception, and some of you have been in the network marketing profession for years. Some of you did decades. All right. Here's what I want you to think about. Out of everyone that you've ever seen sign up, like actually put their credit card in the system, okay? Fill out an application, like the card payments going in, okay? I want you to think about it. Every scenario that has ever happened to you personally or someone on your team, where is the most likely place that that has happened? I want you to think about this, and I want you to type it in the chat box. Talk to me. Text me. Where has the most likely place out of everyone you've ever seen that is actually enrolled, meaning credit card in the system, member in the tree, CV in the tree, new pack in the tree. Where did that happen? Okay. So give me any scenarios. Okay. So hopefully you guys can. I don't see anybody typing yet. So it's coming in. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. This is a participation, by the way. Right. So live events in person. Right. So near. Okay. Can't wait to see you in Dubai, girl. Okay. Work. Yeah, but work isn't specific. Right. On follow-ups. Right. So a lot of people would say on follow-ups. So, but on the what, when you phone call them, I want you to think about this, Unity. Right. So the person that when their credit card goes in the system, is it when you call them? So Gladys is saying one-on-one. This is an interesting one. I want you to think about when someone actually put their name in the system on the website or gave you their credit card on a form. Where did that happen? Helen is saying live events. Judith is saying there's a one after a live presentation. Marge is saying a one-on-one, right? So after presentation and a follow-up potentially, right? So I want you to think about anyone that's ever enrolled with you, anyone that you've ever seen enroll, and you could even go ask everybody that's ever enrolled. Linda said a home meeting. You're spot on, girl. So for me, I've seen hundreds of thousands of people join my team, right? Hundreds of thousands of people join my team. Okay. And out of them, very rarely did someone sign up from an exposure. Now, it's not that we don't need to do the exposure. We're going to talk about that. Very rarely did I see somebody join from a follow-up. Sometimes people would join from a three-way phone call, just from a three-way phone call. Okay. So, but not as often. Here's the most likely point where people joined is after they saw a live presentation and were asked a closing question, is the most likely place that I've ever seen the credit card go down. Because I want you to think about this, right? When you're new, we don't focus on the results, we focus on the activities. Action, 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 action. If you do enough activity, eventually you'll find somebody who's going to say yes, even if you're terrible. Right? They say even a busted clock is right twice a day. So you can't be that bad. What we have is too good to where if you talk to enough people, you're going to find somebody, right? Which is good. However, we say that for new people, but many of you aren't new anymore. So, in other words, if you're not new anymore, we're not just focusing on actions, we're focusing on results. So if we're going to focus on results, let's talk about results. So if the most likely place somebody gives you their credit card and says, sign me up, I am in on the membership and on the business, okay, is after a live presentation. Okay, then what that means is everything is designed to lead to a live presentation. Otherwise, what are we doing? Like we're playing. We're playing in the sand. Like we're singing Kumbaya. We're having a good time. Nothing wrong with that. But we're not executing, right? Execution is after presentation. Now, there are different types of presentations. Obviously, so you can write these down. Okay. These are the three big ones. A one-on-one or a two-on-one. That's a presentation. You're doing a presentation live with someone, or you have an expert with you doing the presentation. Coffee shop, tabletop, whatever it is, a one-on-one and two-on-one. That's a live presentation. Second is in a home presentation. Man, these work a lot. Okay. Now, I do know people are doing less of these than they used to in the past. I'm not for or against doing more or less of them. So, but they are a live presentation. Second, or the third, is a group event, like a live event where people go to. An example is like the ones I did in Bulawayo, the one we did in Vic Falls, the one we did in Hanare, where you're inviting people to see a live presentation, someone's presenting, right? Those are the three big ones. Okay. Those are live. Now, there's a fourth one that was introduced a handful of years ago, which is a live Zoom presentation, right? A live Zoom presentation, which are also good, but they are not as effective, which means your ratio is not going to be as good as on a Zoom as it is in person. It just isn't. Okay. Now, people say, well, then I shouldn't do Zooms. No, you should do Zooms. Yeah, I'm doing like if somebody lives in a different country, obviously I can't do a one-on-one with them tomorrow, but I can get them on the live Zoom tomorrow, right? All right. There are some people where I'm just not going to be able to meet with them due to my work schedule, their work schedule, family schedule, so I can do a live Zoom with them. So, but if I have the chance to meet them in person and I'm doing a Zoom, that's stupid. You're just you're basically throwing money out the window at that point because your effectiveness and your rate of closing is just less from Zoom. Why? They're not 100%. There's always a distraction. Things going on. Good example, right? Your retention from this training is worse because we're on Zoom than if we were in that room in Harare. Why? Because there are some of you, because none of you have your camera on except for Aaron and Nira, which is weird to me. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, are you like, so I love seeing your beautiful smiling faces. And I have to train to blank names. That's silly, right? So if you can't put your camera on, put your camera on. What's up, people? Like, what are you hiding? Like, we're supposed to be a community. Like, give me some love. I want to see even though I can't hear you laugh when I say a joke, I like seeing this, like at least that makes me happy. So there we go. All right. Now, here's the reason why. Hey, Lydia. So, hey, I've been in that living room. So this is one of those things that's important, right? There are those of you that are distracted right now. Your kids in the background, you're at work, you're doing other things, you're cooking food. So this is like a sort of training for you. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just letting you guys know to be realistic about your business, right? Of knowing that in person is always going to give you better results than on Zoom. However, you use Zoom. So the high touch, or sorry, the high tech should lead to the high touch as fast as you can. High tech to high touch. So you use the technology, but you want to get to the thing in person. Okay. Kind of like a good example. If we did escapes over Zoom, you guys realize that would never work. Hey, we're all going on Zoom to Vic Falls. Like nobody's no, we ain't having it. We're gonna go to this concert on Spotify. Stupid. So, um, so get together. Now, with that being said, if all roads lead to presentations, because that's the most likely, I'm not saying it's the only place. Are there people sometimes you could just call them over the phone and be like, "Hey, we're doing this thing," and they're like, "Let's go." Yes, but is that the most common? No. Is the most common time when you call someone that hasn't answered four times and on the fifth time they pick up and they're like, "Here's my credit card." No. But does it happen every once in a while? Sure. Right? All right. Do you get some people the first time you send them a video, they watch it and they go, "Sign me up." Yeah, but not that often. All right. So if we're trying to not have a business based on hope, but based on strategy, then our goal is to get to as many presentations, live presentations in person or on Zoom as I can to where somebody has crossed this line where we can ask them the question, are you ready to join? I've got to get to that question and somebody that's seen the information enough to make a joining decision. So what that means is all roads lead to presentations. So in other words, in my calendar, okay, and my calendar is filled with presentations. If it's not filled with a presentation, it's doing something to lead to a presentation. So if I'm doing a fast start with somebody and I'm getting Nira started in the business, why am I doing this meeting with Nira? To get to a presentation, to do a presentation to somebody she knows, to do a launch event at her house, to do is set up a Zoom with her friends. So the only reason in our business, the A activity is in a live presentation with somebody who hasn't said yes yet. If I'm not, the goal is to get people to that, and everything else doesn't matter. Like, stop it. Like, why am I following up to get to a presentation? Why am I doing an exposure to get to a presentation? Right? So why am I going training to get better at learning how to be a better messenger? Why am I learning how to be a better leader? To get more people to do more presentations? Right? All right. So why do I get good at training? So I'm a better presenter. So like presenting. Here's what's super cool. Once you learn how to present and you know you can do it well, you'll never be broke unless you want to be. Isn't that cool? Because you just know, okay, I do this enough, the result comes. Like you know it. Like it's not like a, well, I don't know if this is gonna happen for me. Okay. So how I'm gonna relate this is to your business in a different capacity. Okay. So, okay. Ooh, these are conversations I haven't had for a long time. This is fun stuff, right? I get excited about this stuff. Anyway, I don't know if you guys do. Um, let's talk about building your business. So, inside of Viago, when are you open for business? Okay, so maybe I want you to type in the chat box. When are you open for business in Viago? So I don't know. Give me your open for business time. So in Viago. Yeah, Aaron said 24/7, all the time, right? Gladys, right? So, by the way, Gladys, absolutely love your retreat. I hope you like the video. Okay. So, Helen's like 2 p.m. to 9 p.m., 24/7, 24/7, 24/7, all the time. I like this, right? So, this is the very common response when somebody says, and I'm like, when are you open for business? 25 hours a day. Right? Now, I get the concept, but I want you to think about it differently. Okay. I want you to think about it like a traditional business real quick. Let's say you owned a uh, clothing store, okay, in Harare, and right down there in the thick of the street, right? So, and you have a clothing store. Now, if you owned a clothing store, there's only two ways you can get that cash register to ring, okay? All right. Number one, you have to be open for business, right? Good example. If you have a store and your store is closed, it's 9 p.m., and somebody's outside the door and they want to give you money to buy the stuff in your store, can you make money? The answer is no. So you got to be open for business, number one. Second thing is you have to have a customer that wants to buy what's in your store, right? In other words, if you're open for business but nobody comes in to buy your stuff, your cash register doesn't ring. So what I want you to be thinking about right now is cash register ring. Cash register ring. When does the cash register ring? Right? How do I get the cash register to ring? All right. Now, cash register to ring. Now, in that case, two things. You got to be open for business, have a customer in the store who wants to buy what you got. Now, are there people, if you have a clothing store, that come in that don't buy? Yeah. Are there people that come in, they try it on, they don't like it? Yeah. Are there people that come in, think about it, and come back again to buy later? Yeah, because they whatever, they want to think about it, oh, I really did like that shirt or blouse or whatever. So, in other words, inside of a traditional retail business, the only time that you're open for business, the only time that you can get your cash register to ring is that case. Open for business. Now, let me ask you a question. If you own a traditional business, one of the ways to get people to come to your store is you have to do a thing called advertising. That's what you got to do. Advertising. Now, does advertising make you money or cost you money? It's a good question. All right. Advertising costs you money.
Cost you money.
Costs. It costs you money. You pay for it. You have to. Running ads, doing newspapers, doing radio, doing Facebook ads. It doesn't matter where you slice it. Advertising costs you money. The goal of advertising is to get people to buy whatever it is you're advertising. But the advertising costs money. Doesn't make you money. They only makes you money if people buy what you're advertising, the product or service or whatever it is, right? Cool. So we're all on the same page. Awesome. Okay. Now, I want you to reframe. So when I say in Viago, when are you open for business? People are like 24/7. Cool. The only problem is people don't sign up 24/7 in Viago. Meaning, when do people give you their credit card to join? Ah. So if giving your credit card is meaning you can actually take payment for somebody joining, and we've all determined on this call the most likely place someone gives you their credit card to join is after a live presentation. Here's the new way I want you to think about it. I want you to think about you're only open in Viago after someone sees a live presentation. That's it. It's the only time you're open for business. That's it. So I'm going to ask all of you guys again. How many times this week were you open for business? How many times this month were you open for business? Because if we want the cash register to ring every day, that means you need to be open for business every day. If you want to be open for business every day, that means that someone has to see a live presentation every day for their ability to say yes. People say, well, I did an exposure. Cool. Advertising. I did a follow-up. Cool. Advertising. Everything else is advertising unless they're in a presentation. And what are we advertising? The presentation to get to the presentation. So when you think about it from that standpoint, now all of a sudden you ain't open 24/7. You're only open for business after someone's seen a presentation and they can say yes. Now, are there random things that will happen every once in a while? Potentially. So, a good example. This morning I was up, I did a presentation in Colombia at 7:30 a.m. for a new guy I just signed up with his prospect. We did a presentation. I was open for business this morning at 7:30 a.m. At 9 a.m., I did another presentation. So, with another guy on Zoom. Okay. Now, these were live. These were hard to do because he's in Colombia. I'm in the Philippines. So, obviously, I couldn't do this in person. Right. So, I'm using the technology the best that I can. Right. So, I was open for business twice today, personally. Now, my team obviously was a very open for business for any. So, the way I see it is this: unless someone's seen a presentation and can say yes to join, you're not open. Everything is advertising up into that point. So then at noon, I did another presentation. This was a personal person that hit me up from my Zimbabwe trip, actually. She's getting married to a guy from Nigeria. She lives in the US and she's probably going to be moving there. And she was like, "What are you doing in Africa?" And I was like, "We're launching in Viago." She's like, "What's Viago?" And I was like, she knew me from before when we sold products. And she was like, "I don't want to sell products." I was like, we're not selling products." She's like, She's like, "I want to do that." I was like, "Awesome." So guess what? I was open for business today with a presentation. So today, here's the guy who doesn't have to work. That was open for business 3 times before noon today. Now, it wasn't only the third time. I was actually did it again. So I did a fourth time. So right now, a good example is this. Right now, none of us are open for business. Shop closed, door closed. Doesn't like we're not the cash register ain't ringing right now, baby. Why? Because no one's giving us their credit card to join, right? So we're not open. We're not open for business right now. So the goal is, I want you to think about this between now and this week, now and Dubai, now and the end of the month. If I want the cash register to ring, I need to be open for business. Now, if you're spare time part-time, I'm not saying you need to be open every day, but you got to be open a couple days a week. Come on, right? So, but for those of you that are really running, if you're running for diamond, you're running for big ranks, you're running for goals, you got to be open every day. Now the question is not how many times are you open every day, is how many times a day can you be open? Because, and every single one of you, if you've done this before and you think about it and you go, shit, he's right. Like, okay, the times I did the most business, the times I got the most ranks, the times we signed out the most people, I was what? Doing the most live presentations, period. Like, it's just no way around it. And when you get your team to start realizing that to get the cash register to ring, I got to get in enough situations. So everything leads to that. That's the point of it. Now, why did we do a good example in Harare? We did on Sunday. We did a phone zone. Why did I do the phone zone? Because I wanted people to set appointments so that way they would be what? Open for business. Now, did all those appointments happen? Of course not. There were no shows, people canceled, things happened. Maybe people got scared, didn't even do them. But it was to get them in that mindset of what it is to truly build a network marketing business. So, open for business. Now, the last piece of this that I want to share with you on our next mentoring session, which I think I'm doing another one, right? I'm assuming I am. I want to do another one. So, hopefully, I get invited back. So is I really want to do a section on goal setting. And the reason why is this is there's a big difference between goal setters and goal achievers. Most people get into the concept of goal setting and they don't really do goal setting, they do wish wanting. And it's like I wish to do this, right? So they don't really do the setting part of it. Now, setting and achieving are different. And I learned this from Paul Meyer. And the reason why this was important is when I left you guys in Zimbabwe, I got back to the Philippines, and then we had a trip, an escape with 40 Hungarians that were came to the Philippines. And we did a trip on one of the islands, and it was unbelievable. Oh my God, it was so super amazing, right? But there was no training at this event. It was just an escape. But they said, hey, listen, we're about to go into the new year. I would really love for you to do a training, not specific about Viago, but on goal setting. And it's been a while since I did one of these trainings, and it was a thick, like we did a 2 hour goal setting workshop, and we went through the entire process of it. And so on the next call that I do, it's something that I think would be really important. But I want to give you a couple of nuggets on this concept today. Okay. And this is important. Yeah, and when you write down a goal, you want to make sure you write it down, and it's specific, realistic, it's measurable, obtainable. It's SMART goal. Some of you guys have heard that as an acronym. I'll go through that process with you guys in detail. However, one of the things that was really important when it came to goal setting is this. Most people, what they do is they have this adage where it's like, shoot for the stars, and if you miss, then you land amongst the moon, or, that kind of a saying, right? Now, when it comes to your dreams, I believe in that philosophy. Dream big, dream huge. Your vision statement, your dreams, have a master dream list, all the things you want to do, have, own, accomplish, be, experience between now and the next 30 years with no governor, no robe on, no maybe possible. Throw realism out the window, throw realistic out the window, just dream, right? So, dream, be creative. We've been given this gift of creativity, and most people use it just to ruin their life rather than inspire their life, right? So, dream. But when it comes to goal setting, I learned from Paul J. Meyer, these are not dreams. Goals are not dreams, they're different. Goals must have a plan of action. And if that plan of action is not something you can read like a recipe, like baking a cake, where you could hand it to the next person and they could read it and go, if I do this, 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 I get a cake. If I do this, 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 I go silver. That's not a goal. It's a dream. So in order to have a goal, it has to be so specifically written, okay, that is something that you know. Now, how you build confidence, this is where I want to give you a little bit different perspective. Some people have stopped setting goals, and the reason why is because they set a goal, they miss. They set a goal, they miss. They set a goal, they miss, and they're tired of setting a goal and just disappointing themselves, so they stop setting goals. They're like, I'm going silver, they miss. I'm going silver, I'm going silver. And then someone says, I'm going silver. I'm working hard. I'm hanging in there. And then what people start doing is they start justifying it. They're like, well, I'm just, I'm just kind of focused on doing my best. And they've given up. And it's not because I don't want them to set goals. It's because they never really taught the difference between setting the goal and creating an action plan to achieve it. And so because of that, I want to get people out of that. And so one of the easiest ways to destroy somebody's self-esteem is continuing to ask them to set a goal and giving them no plan to actually do it. So our job as leaders is to help build confidence for people. How do we build confidence for someone is successful attempts. So what we started was these things called accountability groups. Now, an accountability group is where I would, with a workout partner, or I would with my upline, or maybe even a small group of people, we would hold ourselves accountable towards the actions that we would set for the day or for the week. So, as an example, I would talk to Aaron. And if Aaron is like, hey, I'm going to do 10 presentations this week. Cool. Aaron, how many are you going to do? Aaron's like, I'm going to do five, whatever. Doesn't matter how many. Okay. Next week, we check in on Tuesday, Monday, or maybe it's daily. I'm doing two today, right? So next week we check in. And here's what we would do. No fluff, no game, no BS. It's like I said I would do 10 presentations. I did 8 presentations. This week I'm going to do 9. Whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. It was just an accountability set. Now, here's what I found very interesting about this that I learned from Paul Meyer, okay, who I showed in my slideshow. He said, when you're doing accountability and true goal setting, when you're doing it with the right actions, which is your key performance indicators, KPIs, they call them, right? So, and you're doing real actionable goal setting. He said, I would rather you say you're going to do five and do six presentations than say you're going to do 10 and do six. And you're like, what? It's the same amount of presentations. I was like, yeah, it is, but not to your brain. Because your brain went, I said I was going to do this and I didn't do it. I said I was going to do this, I didn't do it. I said I was going to do this, I didn't do it. I said I was going to do this, I didn't do it. You want to destroy somebody's power, take away the power of their word. It's a big deal. I said it from the stage. Talk is not cheap. People have cheapened their talk. How? Because when they say something, it doesn't happen. Here's what we loved about the accountability. When somebody said, I'm going to do five presentations, they did five. Did five. Said I was going to do five, I did five. Now your brain's going, oh, yeah, I got this shit. Like, right? Meaning, I said I was going to do something, I did it. I said I was going to do something, I did it. I said I was going to do something, I did it. Now, when you go, okay, I'm going silver, your brain goes, you got this. So it starts with a level of accountability towards hitting those goals. Now, I want you to have big dreams, but I want you to have real goals with actions that you can follow through on that give you the opportunity to have successful attempts. And when you do successful attempts over and over and over, all of a sudden, this is where you gain confidence. And once you gain that level of confidence, that certainty, I'm not talking about ego. I'm not talking about bragging. I'm talking about a level of certainty that you know that you can do this. If I do this, this happens. And then what happens is once you have that and you start speaking into the world, oh, watch out. The world will conspire to do you great and do you well to the man or woman who knows where he or she is going. So we want to help you build that, and we can with this process when you stay with these mentoring calls. So I hope you got some stuff from today. Okay. I gave you a lot to chew on. Let me do a quick recap for a couple of things here in case you decided not to take notes, which would have been a bad move. Okay. Is number one. Okay. All right. So number one thing is this is being open for business is only open after a presentation. Everything else is advertising. How many times a week am I going to be open for business? You're going to be open for business twice this week? You're going to be open for business every day this week? You're going to be open for business three times a day? How many times are you going to be open for business? I'm not here to tell you your goals. You get to determine how fast you go, but I want you to know this is what creates the result. So that way you're not confused. You're like, oh, how come I didn't get any signups? Well, you weren't open for business last month. Of course. You did a lot of good advertising. Now that's good, but advertising costs you money, costs you time with the intent of making money, but it's got to turn into live presentations where you can ask somebody, are you ready? That can say yes, right? Okay. So open for business. Second thing is accountability, being accountable to the actions that you say that you're going to do. And I would rather you say you're going to do less and do more than say you're going to do a ton and do less. So you can start building that on a regular basis. All right. So when we start doing accountability, the only thing that we would track in the beginning is presentations. Then we would track more things later. We started tracking KPIs, key performance indicators, about four or five. We tracked promoting calls like that. So because what I found is presentations were number one. Second thing is we would track is registrations for the next event. Those are the two things. Those are the big two. And then we started tracking some other things that would help with those, but those are the main ones. And so we were trying to figure out, okay, what's the action step? So getting to Dubai, getting across that stage in Dubai is going to be tracking your numbers. It's one of the reasons why Helen and some of these guys are doing so well, and in their businesses because they know their numbers. Real business owners know their numbers. Okay. Otherwise, it's the number one reason why businesses succeed or businesses fail is because they know or don't know their numbers. So be a leader and be a business owner who knows your numbers and is starting to track your numbers. Okay. Now, in the beginning, I was terrible at this. So just keep in mind, the many of these things you're going to be bad at in the beginning. Don't worry about it. Okay. That's normal. Don't worry about being bad. Worry about not doing it enough to get good. That's what you should be more worried about. Okay. So you're gonna just suck for a little while. It's fine. Just that for me, it's like if I'm gonna suck for a while, let me get it over fast. Let me get let me get the bad stuff over quick so I can get good at this. And how you get good at something is doing it over and over through spaced repetition, because that's the mother of all skill. And then how you build confidence is in successful attempts. So help your team with this. Help your team get unconfused as to, the results that they're looking for in their business. Now, I'm speaking to you guys as leaders. This is important. Don't go to all of your leaders. I mean, sorry, I'm speaking to you guys as leaders. Don't go to your whole team and be like, let me tell you everything Jesse told me. If you aren't open for business every day, if you're not even serious about your business, no, 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 do not, no. Do not feed steak to babies. Bad idea. Bad idea, right? So your your kids, your infants, your babies, your new people when they come into the business, we're not talking about any of this stuff. What are we talking about with them? Why are you doing the business? Who do you know? Don't focus on the results, you focus on the activities. You focus on the exposures, you focus on the invites. Okay. And then you get them in the process of going. And then once they're doing that for a little while and you get them a successful win, you get them one, you get them two, you get them to club six, you get them the presentations. And then once they're going, okay, I really want to do this thing better. It's like, okay, cool. Now we need to we need to transition from focusing on actions to focusing on execution. Now we can move them, right? So, but that's the process. And this is the last thing I'll share with you guys here tonight before I wrap up my day is the growth that you're going to go through in this business is going to be incredible, but you got to let people grow through their own journey, so to speak. And everybody's going to have their own journey. Some are going to grow faster than others. Some want to grow faster than others. Most people, growth is painful. That's why they call it growing pains, right? So it's designed to be challenging, okay? But I'm proud of all of you guys for wanting to level up because there's a lot of people in life that once they get to, after school, they're like, that's it. Like they're like, all right, I have arrived. Like there isn't a level up process. Okay. But I want all of you to have an expectation and why this environment is so important. To be around a group of people that expect you, have an expectation from their peers to do more or do better is very important. Okay. This environment changed my life. Aaron, you said some beautiful things about me in the beginning. There's one thing I have to correct you on. You said that I was a self-made millionaire. Absolutely false. I am a team-made millionaire. Team. I did not do it by myself. I did it with an incredible team, a team from people from the company, a team of people from my support team, a team of people that I brought into the business that I supported or that supported me. I was a team-made millionaire. Okay. Now, why that was important is the environment impacted me, it changed me. So, and this amazing, amazing opportunity to be involved in a team like this. But what I love about it is the team expects you to grow. Being stagnant in this group is really challenging, which is why sometimes it's confronting, right? It's challenging because we expect you to grow, but that's not uncommon. It's just uncommon for adults. Good example. How many of you have kids that are in does anyone have any kids that are young that are in school? Like second grade, third grade, fourth grade? Anybody? So I'm gonna think if anybody has any. So many of you guys, if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about, right? So Lena has kids. How old is your kid, Lena? What grade? Lena? I'm saying Lena. Lena? Is it Lena? Lena. So unworried. Let's go last name. So Lena, grade one. All right. So perfect. And what's your daughter? Boy, girl? What's his or her name? Daughter. Chanel? Chanel, beautiful name. All right. So Chanel's first grade, right? So in grade one. Okay. Now, here's a question I want you to think about, all of you guys. So, Lena, How long do you expect Chanel to stay in first grade? Yeah, like 1 year, right? Yeah, like a year. Maybe two if she really messes it up. Right? But the expectation of you, the parent, the person who loves her the most, is that she's going to graduate in 1 year. Next year she goes to grade two, right? Cool. Awesome. Let me ask you a question, Lena. How long do you expect your child to stay in grade two? 1 year. So we expect reasonable progress within a year from our children that they will learn more, upgrade, be tested, and be able to graduate to go to the next level every single year. And we expect that from our children, and it's reasonable to do that for a child. But when you hit 30, expecting you to level up every year is like, oh, how dare you, right? Are you, like it's almost like we're throwing people for a loop here, right? And so, why do children level up? Because everyone in their environment expects them to. But then all of a sudden you graduate, you're done with school. You know, the average person who gets out of college never reads another book? Isn't that wild? Right? So, and it's like all the information you need has already been written. People that have messed up things their whole life that you can learn from in days, you can literally pick up a book on it, right? So, they say that, if you can read and don't read, you're a volunteer illiterate. It's like, oh, right? So, but beyond that is this. I'm so grateful and proud to be around a group of people that create an environment where we expect you to level up. We expect you to grow. Now, if it takes you longer than others, totally cool. If you're less, if the commitment level isn't there, totally cool. If you just want to be inside our environment and go on trips and vacations and all that kind of stuff, totally cool. But for those that want to be ambassadors in this community and coming to our event system, what's so great is that you're in an environment that is literally setting you up for success if you stay in the associations. That's why when we say never miss an event and come to the events, people don't really understand the real power behind them. It's not just the education, it's not just the inspiration, it's not just the recognition, it's not just the camaraderie. It's the fact that very few people, like if you think about most people you go to work with, how many of them are trying to level up? How many people in life, in the world, are going, all right, I'm leveling up my game this year. I'm going to graduate and get to the next level, get to the next grade, get to the next learning, get to the next understanding, get to the next. I'm going to go to school every day. I'm going to study this. I'm going to be tested on it. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to be doing it with my peers, and everyone around me has the expectation. But that's why I love this group. This group of people, we're all committed to going together. So I don't care where you are, but be committed to leveling up and leveling up in your mindset, leveling up in your skill set, leveling up in your attitude, leveling up in your leadership, obviously leveling up in your bank account. We want to see that too. Um, and all the different things. So this mentoring leadership lessons that you guys are going to get over the course of these next few weeks are incredibly valuable. And I hope that you take them seriously. So it has been a privilege. It has been a pleasure being with you guys here today. And I'm so excited, Helen, for you to come to Playbook in the United States and train some people on some stuff. And if you guys didn't get a chance, we edited the testimonial videos from your Sapphires and above. Hopefully, you guys got a chance to see those. I will drop the recap of the Elevate Africa video into your guys' groups. We'll drop the video into the WhatsApp, but I'll also send you the Google Drive link so you can download it in HD so you can share it on your social and your Facebook pages, and you can download a high quality copy for your PowerPoints and that you can share at your events. But guys, you made magic this last week. But guess what? If we're not open for business every day, we just had a fun trip.
No.
So how the results are how you show appreciation is through the results, and how good this event was is yet to be determined. How good this event
Well,
is, it will be determined over the next 90 days because If we don't have people advancing through the ranks, leveling up, then the event was great for us to get together, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So let's go. Yeah, go. Love you guys. Helen, Aaron, I'll turn it back to you guys.
Thank you
I think
so much.
Diamond, yeah, Blue Diamond, yeah, Helen, over there.
We are so grateful as the Africa team. We appreciate you, your leadership, and this was full of powerful nuggets. I thought I was open for business for 8 hours, but I realized that maybe 2 hours. So thank you. We are putting in work, and you will see the results by Dubai. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see you guys in Dubai. It's going to be amazing. Aaron, anything you got for us, brother? Are we ready to go?
We're ready to go. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
All right. You're welcome, guys. I will see you guys in Dubai, but more importantly, I want to see you on the leaderboard. I want to see you in the advancement boards, and I want to see you guys. I want to see you guys on one of our next calls and our next trips. So have a blessed day. Happy Saturday, and let's
Thank
go.
you. Same to you.
Bye, guys.